Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeffrey Fry. I'm the CEO and president of Keep Safe Care. And I wanted to explain to potential franchisees what our Ultra-Lite franchise is and why this is just more than a business. It's really on a mission to change caregiving in America. First topic is really we're not just selling a franchise. We're kind of doing a revolution. And the revolution is how much caregivers get paid. And it all starts with being essentially more efficient. And one of the things that we did is that we re-engineered private duty in the United States. And because we did that, we got rid of a lot of the cost associated with running a private duty agency. A lot of the back office staff and whatnot that typical franchisors have to pay anywhere from, the franchisees or franchisors have to pay anywhere from $500,000 to $800,000 to chase down caregivers. So one of the things that every other competitor does not mention is how they're not a caregiver-centric company. They talk about how well they take care of their clients, and they think highly of their caregivers, but they never ask about how much they pay. So one of the things that we did, and this is what our focus is, we trademark this, we take care of our caregivers so they take better care of you. And what that means essentially is that we borrowed from some of the better people, like the gig economy, we allow the caregiver to own the relationship with the client. Nobody else does that. They're always worried about other things like pirating, which is stealing caregivers, and recruitment and various things like that. So what we did is made a totally integrated system, a full software stack that allows a franchisee to run an agency essentially from their kitchen. So part of the benefit of this is what I call the 10-5-2. So primarily the cost of our franchise is about 1/10 of a typical franchisor's. Their startup cost is somewhere between 150, 175. Ours is between 15,000 and 20,000 to do a startup. Also, they typically charge anywhere from 6% to 11% of a royalty. We have a flat fee royalty that's commensurate with your census, but it runs around $1,250 to $2,500, depending how big your census is, which is about 1/5 the typical royalty. And most importantly, the two is that we cut your operating expenses in half. So for the same census, you're able to do twice as much with the same cost, which is really important, which means you could get to profitability quicker. And finally, all this efficiency leads to this, and this is really our defining moment. It's the 2/3 rule. We actually have this trademark as well, which means that if we're paying the caregiver at least 2/3 of what a client is being charged hourly. Typically, the going rate in the industry is between 40 and 45%. The good ones, the real good ones, may get up to 50%, but they're charging their clients a lot of money to get to that 50%. So if they're paying a caregiver at 21, 22, they're charging $45 to $50 an hour. So part of this 2/3 rule creates an environment of trust, which is really important. Nobody else in the industry comes even close to 67%. So our brand is a little bit different. Where most people say they're a caregiving company, we are a caregiver company. And again, it goes to the fact that we take care of our caregivers so they could take better care of you. During the 20+ years of franchising private duty agencies, everybody's had this problem. They've always wanted to treat caregivers better, but just because of the inherent difficulties of running a traditional private duty agency, they haven't been able to do it. Again, going back to the beginning, we re-engineered what it takes to run a private duty agency. And as such, we got to the point where we can now become the caregiver company. So this, you could look up online, giant market. Some people put it at 200 billion, some people at 250 billion by 2030. It's just a huge market, and it's continuing to grow for the next 10 to 20 years. People are living longer, families are displaced, they're all over the country. Very few adult children live near to their families. A lot of times they want to move them closer to where they are working or taking care of their kids. And so they need caregivers. So that's the bottom line. Again, if you happen to be awarded a franchise from us, you're not running a business. You're part of a movement. And that movement is, how do we revolutionize how caregivers are paid, treated, and respected? And that's one of the things that makes us different. Yes, part of what is thing, I've done numerous startups. This is actually my first franchise, but in every sense, we have a long-term strategic competitive advantage, and it comes from the fact that we pay our caregivers more. Thank you for your time. Again, my name's Jeffrey Fry. If you want to email me, my email is jxf@keepsafecare.com, and my telephone number is 512-814-5665. Again, thank you for your time.